Welcome to the brand new series of the Brand Matters podcast. And this series is called Unwire to Rewire, exploring a founder's journey of building with meaning, intention, and resilience. I'm super excited to start this series with one of my favorite leaders who has taken things from ground zero to scale at speed and with meaning. He's an icon, not just because he built and scaled a business, but because he took everyone along with him to the goalpost, no matter how difficult the times were. One of the fondest memories of having worked with him is where he personally checked in on everyone with one good question saying, "Life is good." I'm extremely delighted to host the one and only Rutesh Shah. In Hindi, we say, "Sirf naam hi kafi hai," and his name needs no introduction. A serial entrepreneur, an investor, a board member, a technologist, and an extremely wonderful human being. Welcome here, Rutesh.
Thank you, Padmini. I think the introduction was like out of the world for me to start with. Now I have to follow this. I'm so glad that I'm here, and let's see what you have in it for me.
It has been a pleasure to have you here. And usually I ask the guests to introduce themselves, but in this case, I'm going to take the privilege of introducing you. Rutesh co-founded InfoStretch with Manish Mathuria and Manish Mistry, starting with a focus on mobile application testing solutions before actually pivoting to become a world-class testing product. Now, this evolution led to Qmetry, which grew into a very successful business and now is recently acquired. Over time, InfoStretch itself transformed into a premier digital transformation company, eventually rebranding themselves as Epexon. And through multiple acquisitions and sustained growth, Epexon has now become a Goldman Sachs and Everstone company, recognized as a digital transformation leader, AI-driven, of course, and now, of course, innovating with agentic products at its core. Rutesh, do you want to add anything else?
I think you did a great job. I think you kind of did better than me.
Okay, I'm glad. So, just for the audience, we have changed this background for Rutesh because he didn't want my bookshelves. And it being Diwali, I've kind of lit up with some lights over here, and especially because Rutesh is here. So, it all worked out.
Happy Diwali, everyone.
Happy Diwali. And let's get started with the conversation. So, I've kind of categorized this into 4 or 5 buckets, mainly to keep the cohesivity of the conversation. And so that, the audience here is all the founders, the venture capitalists who are teaching their portfolio companies on the ebbs and flows of entrepreneurship and everything related to that. So I think that's why it's like kind of chapter-wise. So I'll first start with the origins and the sparks that led to InfoStretch and the garage movements. So Rutesh, can you take us through that initial garage journey, the ahas and the blips?
I first want to put a disclaimer out there that I'm no person that can advise VCs and other founders, but I'll definitely go through my own story. So if at all that's any value to other people that are looking to see and learn from that. I think if we talk garage moment, it's not a physical garage moment only. Though actually we started our first company from my garage. It was more about the kind of mindset, the young mindset that we had, a moment, a kind of state of mind that we had, where we wanted to use technology to change the world to become better. We wanted to use technology to automate as much as we can, so engineers can do other things, other more important things. We had a little bit of foolishness in ourselves in that process, but a strong resolve to do things overall, that we had. We actually wanted to create a solution. At that time, when we started the company, mobile handsets were on a rise in 2006-7 timeframe. So we wanted to develop technology that can help to deploy mobile devices and applications reliably on top of mobile devices. And hence we started the company. And apparently it was not a place, but a decision that we made to make it better for future. And that created an ecosystem. Amazing. Now that's my garage moment. I give a lot of credit to my partners and my mom, who actually kept us well fed during those.
And your wife?
My wife was working, so my mom did the job of more was well fed.
Amazing. And how did you kind of arrive at that point, right? Like, this is the thing to do. Where did that conviction come from?
I think we saw the rise of mobile devices. So we wanted to play in that field for sure. And we wanted to be on the forefront of technology. But when we started developing product and technology, we realized that customers give us a feedback and we are all here listening to them that we want outcome, we don't want technology, we don't want products because things were so new and so rapidly changing for them. So instead of becoming a product technology company, we decided to become a solution slash services company. And I think that's where the spark happened. The key is basically listening to your customers needs to create the value, listening to your front end staff that is telling you that is needed by customers, and what is feasible and possible in that given time frame with technology constraint, capital constraint, time constraint. We kind of put all of those things together and start basically developing a company, an ecosystem that became a product in conceptualization, then a services solution as we progress, and then it became services and product both towards the end.
Yeah. So this is a perfect example of how you kept the outcome or the customer in mind, right?
Yeah.
More than your kind of blindfold blinders on that this is what we want to build and this is what we're going to build. So it's a great example of that. So looking back, which parts would you think you would have changed or rebuilt, or like any hindsight biases?
It's easy to look back and say, I would change that, I would change this, if you were responsible for those tasks. But I would say, there was a lot of learning in the process. I would not change anything wholesale as such.
Right.
What could have helped? And naturally, these new generation technologies can bring value faster to the end customer. So you would have leveraged that, but they were not available at that time. So I would say I would not have changed anything significantly, except that I was foolish, I was stupid, I was kind of doing everything that needed to be done. So the advice that we got from our mentors and advisors that we got was of great value.
Right.
Sometimes they were in time, sometimes they were late, but they were of great value to build this long-term vision and crystallize that vision as we made progress. Okay. So long answer to your question, but I would not change much.
Yeah.
In what happened in the past.
And you need that zing, that energy, that foolishness in the early years. Otherwise, it's like that's the passion that drives, right? Otherwise, it's like you are constantly in the thinking loop, which doesn't work. I'll move to growth and scale because Rutesh is a great example of starting from ground zero, but actually scaling and scaling beyond. So I want to talk a little bit about that journey and what were the pivotal moments when you were actually going to scale, right? Or on your way to scale. What are the things that come to mind?
So we started company to test mobile applications on mobile handsets, and customer told us that they neither wanted to hold mobile handsets or be responsible for submissions of applications. So we developed technology and infrastructure to make that happen. Right. Overall. Then we pivoted from mobile application testing infrastructure to mobile development. Then we pivoted to digital. Then we pivoted to AI now. So the way I see it, every pivot or rebuild that we did, actually, it was not a grand detour to what we were doing. It was more of a redesign to where we were heading. I think we did it in a timely manner with the support from everybody involved, so that we could create the trust to go in that direction.
Right.
Sometimes it was a tough call. Sometimes it was easy for us to do it because our customers demanded it. But I think where we stand today, we feel we did everything right. The only thing that I would say we could have done differently is done it faster with the help of technology, but it was not available at that time.
Yeah.
Your second question was more towards is in scaling. What happens when you pivot? You are hiring a lot of people, you are deploying a lot of technologies, infrastructure, and they're constantly evolving. The knowledge of people, the technology, the infra is evolving constantly. And then when you want to go global, it takes a different magnitude altogether. Yeah. So we made those initial kind of judgment calls and so-called mistakes in that process, right? We actually chose speed, knowledge, brand over real value, or as I now call it, cultural value. So I wanted to say that to entrepreneurs, if you are really building a team, build a team that is creating a culture that you think is the right culture for your company that you're building. Because otherwise, culture will your strategy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and dessert, and everything together. But once we had right people, I think once we had right people on board, we could do a lot of things with them. They actually drove the outcome.
Yeah. So yeah, you answered my question a little bit. My next question was about, the growing pains and which parts were the most painful. I think you alluded to a little bit on fundraising, but maybe you can talk a little bit more about it.
So, fundraising is basically getting injected capital into business. And the process of raising capital is a cross section of what investors think and what you and your executives team are thinking. At the same time, the message and perception that you're giving to your community, which involves clients, partners, and employees. I think that's the key. If you can find a good cross section of all these things, that'll help you to really position well for fundraising. The key in the fundraising that I want people to understand is you need capital to grow faster, because you have to invest. And once you invest, hopefully rightly, then you can build upon that as an outcome for your business. But investors have to think that investment is going in the right direction overall.
Right.
So the cross section really helps the value.
Gotcha. Okay. So shifting gears a little bit on when did you think that you were becoming a scale CEO from like this bootstrap founder? Was that like there was a moment, or was it like a gradual process? How did that happen?
I think I don't know if I call myself a sales CEO even today, but and I also don't know what does Scapy founder exactly mean. But when you're a founder, you're driven by purpose, you're driven by goal, you're driven by the outcome that you want to create. And you also want to make sure that the team that is involved, both client partners and employees, also believe in the same outcome. So it was a journey. It was not a like flip of the switch and you a sales CEO. I think it was a realization that happened, that there are certain things that you have to do because you can only do. So in my language, I call cowboy approach to a certain extent. Beyond that, you can't do it. So you can solve a lot of problems yourself, but you can only solve n number of problems. N plus one, you need to make sure your community is there, your process is supporting, your infra is available, another thing. So I would say it was more of me purposefully learning that, not out of exhaustion or superiority, that I felt that I had to delegate a lot of things for your strategic intentions to grow the company. You have to really make sure your team feels empowered to do things that is expected to be done by them. And once that is there, I think they pull the things. These days, I focus more on kind of strategizing, but more shaping vision, building a culture in the company for the scale, for adopting technology, and so they can go global and they can compete in the field.
Yeah. And I think they're all very related, right? So if you build the right culture, the right people will come in. And when the right people come in, they'll take the reins of things, and it becomes a very collaborative effort at that point. And you are confident that, they're going to be able to run the charter. So it's all a very kind of, I would say, very synergistic process that happens magically. But thanks to leaders, right? So, and for reference, he is a scale CEO. I'll talk a little bit about AI because now that's the buzzword, but it's really not a buzzword also because it has infused into every part of our life, right? And I cannot imagine a life without GPT anymore, very frankly, right? So since we are in that kind of a realm, if AI was available then, how would life look for you with infrastructure and the evolution and all of that? Let's start there.
I think naturally AI in its current form was not available when we were going 0 to 1 or when we started the company. But we always wanted to leverage technology to the fullest possible to create outcomes for ourselves, our operation, and our customers. So we use technology, and AI is just another technology that way. So in turn, we were kind of living and breathing what was available that time. If I really see AI in today's true sense, then I feel that we could have done it much faster. The biggest difference would be to kind of guesswork with some experience and gut feeling can be easily and quickly verified with AI tools. I think that would be the biggest difference in my mind, that I think we could have failed cheaper. We could have pivoted much more economically and much faster and it would have rallied the team behind it much better with AI technology. So that's one good use case of AI that entrepreneurs today have it at their disposal that they can use it for.
Yeah. And I think you answered that question about scaling challenges, which was my next question in terms of scaling. There are several challenges, and which one would kind of get accelerated with AI? But you want to add anything like go to market or whatever? I don't know.
I think these days, I sit on the board of few companies and also advise few other companies. I think AI is kind of prevalent almost everywhere. Either a service company, either is product company, technology company, or even enterprises who are developing end user applications, they are using AI. AI is used almost everywhere. Finding the right people that are perfect match for what you want or close to perfect match, going to market, scaling up exponentially than what you had thought about, making decisions that you want to do it. This whole mindset that people have, that is changing so rapidly, evolving with AI. I feel AI is not only co-pilot, but becoming kind of unreachable entity with you.
Yeah.
As a leader.
Correct.
Right? As employee leader, whatever. It's painful sometimes because you kind of think your importance is becoming less and less on one side, and on the other side, you see that outcome is becoming better, more predictable overall. So you have to grow up as a leader to adopt that overall.
Yeah. And is that also your personal point of view on AI? Because it has infused, and people have opinions. Like marketers have a very strong opinion on the use of a few tools based on all my conversations, right? And truly so, because it kind of takes the life away of some of the creative work that we do. But I want to also understand your personal point of view as a standalone kind of.
I see AI technology. AI is a tool, and this will become better and better as they go. Right? Because AI will transform into AI with more certainty. Probability of success will increase, then become quantum computing, and then God knows something else. So I see it's a new survival tool that you have to adopt. But I also see this as a reinvention engine. There's nothing personal to any one department, the finance or your technology department or marketing, sales. I think within that department, you have to figure out how best you can leverage that so you can create better results, better outcome, and also bigger impact in the journey overall, in the transformation overall. So because AI has kind of access to a historic data of God knows billion minds that you may not have it, right? Any given point of time. And it's making decisions or recommending decisions to be made based on that information, which is way more than one individual can do it. Right. So I personally think AI is something that you should be using it, the tools, technology. I don't think it will create a situation there where it will create kill the creativity. I think it will amplify that. It'll not only amplify, but it'll also make it faster. That's my 2 cents.
No, it's true. I think what we are gathering from you and also from several people is that we have to learn how to use AI. It's very important to understand the tools. You have to understand what it can do and use that to elevate yourself and create a more strategic kind of outlook so that you can add value with AI, right? It becomes synergistic.